awakened spirit of the federal government to restore agriculture as the mainstay of the economy. Nigerians are already witnessing several incentives by the Buhari administration to encourage agriculture. There are Anchor Borrowers Program, National Land Development Authority NALDA initiative, and construction of feeder roads across communities in different states for easy evacuation of farm products. Despite all these, the federal government is still doggedly committed to providing more inputs to make farming easier in Nigeria. It is evident that the substantive policies and programs of the federal government are curating access and affordability to all categories of farmers. The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative is a sterling example of the administration to boost agricultural production. Now, with the rainy season on ground, farmers are expected to take advantage of numerous inputs provided by the government to achieve food security in Nigeria. We will bring you situation reports from across the Federation, while our guest, Gideon Negadu, Executive Secretary, Fertilizer Producers Association of Nigeria FEPSAN and member, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, joins us later. I am Kenen Ima Abodike. First, the news. Professor Yemi Osinbajo says the country needs fervent prayers to overcome the current challenges. This was at the Catholic Women Organization National Conference in Jos. The Young Adeyaba Gang reports.
National Catholic Women Organization is themed, Let's Think with the Heart of Mary. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, representative, says societal ills have greatly affected the socio-economic growth of the country, expressing optimism that with fervent prayers and unalloyed support, Nigeria will overcome all challenges.
Preserving the fabric of our society requires people of faith and goodwill to come together for the common good and to strengthen the bonds of community. Only by pulling together we can, as a people, pull through adversities.
Vaccination prayer has its place, and these are beautiful prayers.
Governor Simon Lalong, represented, notes that peace is a cardinal pillar of the nation's development. As such, the conference is expected to consolidate government's effort in peace building.
The heart of Mary is an embodiment of humility and of embodiment of the submission to God. I'm sure if Catholic women alone in Nigeria would act with the heart of Mary, Nigeria will change. Goodwill
messages centered on the need for continuous collaboration, dialogue, and prayers for the growth of the nation. In Jos, Indenyan and the Abuja, NTA News.
Now, the federal government has restated its position, saying Nigeria remains an indivisible country. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a book launch in Abuja. Anthony Folson reports.
Government's opening remarks through the chairlady's speech up to the keynote address.
Understanding is what we need as a country. So thank you, Dr. Gombe, for demonstrating that we can live together happily if we are committed.
A life of value is one in which achievements are honestly earned and are hardly flaunted, but are rather deployed, not just for self-advancement, but also as platforms to serve.
But the more interesting and necessary for our time is his mentoring skills. I believe we need mentoring very much at this time in our lives, because a lot of our young ones are moving like sheep without shepherd because they do not know that some of the dignitaries here had passed through very difficult times to get to where they are.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, before unveiling the book, was in agreement with the speakers.
One thing that has come out clearly in all the speeches and in all the presentation is that Nigeria is a great country, and that we should strive to overcome the very few differences and understand one another and make this country even greater. Mine is also to present the book to you. Somebody else will go to London to have money. I don't have money.
The book, Ripples of Grace, is a 13-chapter book that presents the genealogy, deeds, and consequences together with the intention of same for Dr. Bamigboe Ogumbi. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
In another development, Emir of Katsina, Abdul Mumini Kabir Usman, has called on Nigerians to live together in peace and harmony, irrespective of their differences in tribe, ethnicity, and religion. The Emir was speaking during a visit of Igbo residents in Katsina. Dauda Mohammed reports.
Visit by Igbo Residents Association in Katsina State is a show of brotherliness and support to the untiring efforts of the Emir of Katsina, Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, in fostering peace and inclusiveness to the various tribes and groups residing in his domain. Emir Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, while expressing his appreciation for the visit, commended the Igbo community in Katsina for their peaceful disposition and entrepreneurship skills that encourage business activities in the emirate. Leader of Igbo Residents Association in Katsina, Charles Ahanonu, described their visit as a solemn homage, adding that with the support of the Emir of Katsina, the Igbo community has been living and doing business peacefully in the state.
We don't have anything to say rather than thank you. We pray to God that has put us under you to grant you all your heart desires.
The Igbo community assured of their support to the Emir at all times. In Katsina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
The Minister of Interior, Rauf Araboshala, has advised state governments to build holding centers for awaiting trial suspects and assign the death warrants of condemned criminals to decongest custodial facilities across the country. The minister gave the advice at the inauguration of the Osun State Command Headquarters Complex of the Nigeria Correctional Service in Oshobo. Adams Abdulkadir reports.
The Correctional Service Osun State Command Main Office Complex is one of the federal infrastructures being built by the service across the 6 zones of the country. Minister of Interior Rauf Araboshala acknowledged the various measures undertaken by the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration aimed at decongesting custodial facilities. He used the inauguration to appeal to state government to accelerate the wheel of justice, as a lot of inmates are being in custody for a period longer than the maximum sentence their alleged offense carry, noting that currently custodial facilities have shot above the capacity by 8%.
As we see and admire in other, especially developed countries, where trials and judgments are wrapped up in 1 week. If we can do this, then definitely there will be a lot of relief to the custodial facilities and the inmates they are in.
Governor Boyega Oyetola, represented by the Secretary to the state government, commended the federal government for providing a conducive working environment for staff
to take advantage of the opportunity provided by the complex to give their best for improved and optimum service delivery.
The custodial facilities, which have a capacity for 57,278 inmates, is currently having the population of 68,774 inmates. Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has reacted to a doctored video footage allegedly released by secessionists featuring blurred images of some persons dressed in green camouflage destroying a farmland in an undisclosed location. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, says the fake video is an attempt by unpatriotic Nigerians to tarnish the image of the Nigerian Army. Brigadier General Onyema enjoined members of the public to be wary of such negative propaganda materials by subjecting them to thorough scrutiny. Now, 500 members of Police Officers' Wives Association, POWA, and widows of policemen who died in active service in Borno State have been empowered by the national president of the association, Hajara Usman Al-Kadi Baba. This was during the official visit of the IGP's wife to the state. Maimuna Garba reports.
The visit to Borno by the National President Police Officers' Wives Association (POA) was, among other things, to familiarize herself with various POA members across the nation and encourage them to be self-reliant. Hence, the empowerment drive as part of her 3-point agenda to reposition the association for the better.
Too happy, as if I should lift that mama up like this.
This is one of the beneficiaries of the National President of POA's Empowerment Program who got grinding machine. Other beneficiaries took home refrigerators, mattresses, among others. Addressing members of POA, the National President Hajara Usman Alkali Baba warned against indiscipline and called for unity and peaceful coexistence amongst members, while encouraging them to support their husbands to enable them remain focused on their duties.
Fully prepared for 500 women. Inshallah, if I'm alive, I think from here I'm moving to another state.
On behalf of POA Borno State, Azara Yakubu commended the National President's initiative in transforming the association and assured her of their maximum support. Awards were presented to POA members who distinguished themselves in their jobs. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Talking health now, the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) has flagged off a national sanitation exercise taken through the spread of cholera. Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, while flagging off the exercise in Abuja, charged the Corps members to take the exercise seriously. Olayinka Ojo reports.
That officially flags off the national campaign to keep Nigeria clean and consequently keep Nigerians away from cholera and other diseases. In the last 1 month, the number of cholera cases reported across states of the Federation kept increasing. The decision by the NYSC to launch this campaign at Nyanya Market, filled with heaps of refuse, is to draw attention to the importance of keeping clean environment and good hygiene.
On this premise, efforts must be stepped up to enlighten the general public, especially the rural dwellers, on the health risk of poor hygiene, with particular focus on the prevention and contamination of food, water, and the environment.
It's going to be a continuous process.
The Youth Corps members are enthused with the program, as it will offer them another opportunity to impact on the communities where they are serving.
They should also keep the environment healthy, not waiting for us.
The NYSC National Environmental Sanitation Program is coming barely a month after it flagged off its 2021 health initiative for rural dwellers across the country and will now be a regular exercise that will be on fortnight basis. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
In the related development, the Bauchi State Primary Healthcare Development Agency has commenced the first dose of vaccination against cholera. Bulak Absa reports that the measure is aimed at reducing the spread of the outbreak that recently claimed many lives in the state.
Bauchi State is one out of the 18 states in the country fighting cholera, and 19 out of the 20 local governments in the state are affected, with Bauchi local government being the worst hit. Hence, the vaccines will be administered in 16 wards out of the 20 wards of Bauchi local government area. Chairman of the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Ruwana Muhammad, reminded residents that the vaccine is no replacement for preventive measures. Hence, residents should avoid open defecation, wash their hands regularly, and step up their personal and environmental hygiene.
The outbreak of cholera in Bauchi is alarming. It involves all the 19 local governments, except one local government, which is Gombe. They gave us 1.5 million doses of vaccines, which is first and second dose to be given to children, 1 year, and all the adults.
In their separate remarks, representative of the World Health Organization, Goni Abba Ngala, and representative of Medicine Sans Frontières, Switzerland, Chikudi Nsudi, reminded residents that the vaccine is important in fighting cholera. The exercise is expected to last for 5 days in Bauchi. Bulak Absa, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with Governor David Umahi of Ebonyi State on his 58th birthday. The president describes the governor as a man of conviction who does not hesitate in following his heart, particularly when it comes to serving his people. President Buhari rejoices with the entire Umahi family, their friends and associates, praying that as the governor turns a new age, he will further dedicate himself to the service of God and humanity. It's time for our first break on Weekend File. Do join us again.
The future belongs to those who leverage on digital innovations. Digital Peers International presents DigiTest Online 2021, an online summer camp that brings ages 8 to 18 together across Nigeria, Canada, US, and more countries. Theme: Digital Skills, Pathway to Prosperity. Date: 8 to 16 August 2021. At DigiTest, kids and teens will unearth their potential to create digital products with possibilities of making profits online.
Participation would be virtual with few physical non-residential at the DigiTest Center, Abuja, and we all enjoy a level playing field to compete with students across the globe. Lots of prizes to be won.
Give your kids an opportunity of a lifetime today for only
5,000 Naira for virtual and 20,000 Naira for physical. To register, visit our website at www.digitalpeers.org/DigiTestOnline2021
or call 08077823307 or 08077823308.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Looking fresh for your dates? Get even fresher with Close Up. New Close Up Triple Fresh formula. It cleans deeply, fights 99% of bacteria, and cools intensely, keeping you protected and fresh.
Protected and fresh. Protected and fresh.
Let's take a picture.
Protected and fresh.
Still fresh, still protected.
Feeling cool and protected.
All day confidence to get close.
Oh yeah, take it close. Close.
New Close Up Triple Fresh formula.
Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, cordially invites you to the third session of 2021 Mandatory Continuing Professional Development MCPD program. Theme: Re-engineering accounting profession in the post-COVID era. Venue: M&M Corporate World Place Garden, plot 900 Hubert Macaulay Way, behind International Conference Center, Abuja. Date: 26 to 28 July 2021. Time: 9 a.m. daily. Chief host: Professor Benjamin Chuka Osisioma, President and Chairman of Council. Please adhere strictly to all COVID-19 safety protocols. Dr. Nuruddin Abba Abdullahi, announcer.
Welcome back. The federal government is implementing a new policy that eliminates the activities of middlemen in the sale and distribution of fertilizer nationwide. This is sequel to the 2020 fertilizer law that prescribes 7-year jail term for any person found guilty of producing, distributing or selling a fake and substandard fertilizer in the country. Agriculture correspondent Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
It has been a long time when issues relating to siphoning, diversion, even cases of racketeering in the distribution of fertilizer made headlines or discussed in the media. This is because of the policy put in place by the federal government, which has successfully removed middlemen from distribution of the farming input.
The activities of the fake fertilizer operators greatly affected the investment of the genuine fertilizer businessmen, thereby dampening the rate of real investment in the Nigerian fertilizer industry.
The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, therefore, came on board with a view to ensuring that farmers have access to inputs in good time and at affordable prices. The initiative allows private sector participation in the production and marketing of fertilizer across the country.
Fertilizers, producers, blenders, and dealers will from henceforth be very careful to ensure that farmers are supplied with adequate quality fertilizer for their own use.
To further strengthen the policy, the National Assembly has enacted a law to prescribe punishment for those engaged in selling fake and adulterated fertilizer to farmers.
Manufacturing, blending, importing, or distributing unbranded or misbranded fertilizer is also an offense. Selling condemned fertilizer or diverting or converting fertilizer, all of these carry a minimum of 5 years imprisonment without an option of fine.
A recent survey shows that more than 1 million tons of fertilizer was produced to meet farmers' needs this year. To this end, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture maintained that government will not be involved in buying and selling of fertilizer anymore. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And in Kano, while some dry season farmers are harvesting and replacing their farm produces in continuation of the wet season, the complaint is not of accessibility to fertilizer, but the instability in its price. Aminu Umar, who visited some farmers in the state, reports that youths are now embracing agriculture as a full-time venture.
In addition to being a business-oriented state, also has agricultural potential with arable land, dam facilities and hard-working farmers. More than 80% of its population are farmers, with the remaining participating in the value chain. Youth are now on the farm, practicing all year round, with dry season done, and now it is time for the wet season. Murtala Rabiu is one of the many farmers who responded to the call of President Muhammad Buhari and are now contributing to food sufficiency through rice production. Their challenge is now instability in the price of fertilizer.
When you go to the market to buy fertilizer, you can't have it at standard price.
Summarizing their position, Chairman All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Kano chapter, Zubair Ibrahim says farmers are no more waiting for the free fertilizer, but the one that is affordable.
Casco, they used to produce and sell it, so it will be available in the market.
On its part, Kano State government, apart from giving the pre-season training to farmers, also gives grants to thousands of registered clusters. In addition to resuscitating the state fertilizer blending company.
Before the rainy season, we went around with MD and we stopped some silos at different locations, and we encourage them to sell it to only the farmers around the area.
Obviously, about 1,000 farmers where we can give them what is called starter pack.
The producer attributed the cost to the market forces and foreign exchange. However, I believe the federal government intervention has helped in not only making the price relatively okay, but within the reach of the farmers.
With an annual production of 5 million metric tons of urea to boost farming, the Nigerian economy is expected to earn $1.2 billion annually from exporting the commodity to other countries, while youths are expected to receive a boost. Bolade Salami in this report takes a look at the country's largest fertilizer plant and its potential in meeting up demands by farmers.
The unrelenting efforts of the federal government to make the agricultural value chain one of the major sources of revenue earnings, aside crude oil, is beginning to pay off as the country recently attains the largest producer of urea on the basis of an independent fertilizer plant in Nigeria, with an estimated annual production of 3 million metric tons to augment the 1.5 million metric tons capacity from Indorama plants. Africa's largest economy now occupies the role of a big brother in the production and distribution of the commodity.
Nigeria, the farming community is up to 70% or 80% of the population.
And most of us do agronomy, crop production, especially food production. And therefore, we need a lot of fertilizer and chemical fertilizer for that matter.
The essence of fertilizer usage is to enhance your output so that rather than just growing 1.5, getting 1.5 metric tons per hectare, you are getting 3, 4 or thereabout.
While the fertilizer plant is expected to produce high quantity of the product to beef up cultivation, agricultural produce is expected to enjoy an exponential growth in output. As the rain gradually prepares the land for farming season, agricultural experts are of the opinion that farmers should take advantage of the opportunity of rural availability to ensure bountiful harvest. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And joining us now is Sir Gideon Negedu, Executive Secretary, Fertilizer Producers Association of Nigeria and member, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. Thank you for joining us on Weekend Farm.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah, let's go straight to this target of 1 million metric tons of fertilizer for this rainy season. Now, where are we? Are we meeting that target?
Yes, I'm proud to say that we are not only meeting, we are surpassing that target.
Good.
We have, under the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, which was started by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2016 in conjunction with the private sector, FEPSAN. We started with about 8 blending plants. Today, we have about 46 blending plants in the country. Now, what these blending plants do is to mix or produce what we call NPK fertilizers that the farmers require on their farm. Before the advent of this program, the capacity to produce that quantity was very weak, almost non-existent. Today, with 46 blending plants, we have raw materials that have come in that can do way beyond the 1 million ton mark that we even set for ourselves as a program. So we're way past that. And we're very happy and excited to say that.
Now, that's good news for farmers and everyone who is interested in food security and agriculture in Nigeria.
Yes.
But then the farmers themselves are complaining not just about accessibility to these fertilizer, but then the incessant changes in prices. What is going on?
Well, I saw the report, particularly what the report was clear about was that the product is available. Okay, it's not like what you had in the years before when you are coming into the farming season and there's no fertilizer. You are waiting for one procurement process or the other. No, there's fertilizers everywhere. But what government has done in conjunction with the private sector is to now help us to produce the kind of fertilizers that Nigeria requires. So where farmers were used to only one type of fertilizers, now you have almost 30 types of blends. Okay. You have what is called the NPK 2010-10 that they are used to. They have the NPK 15-15 that they are used to, and other blends. Now, so farmers have the choice to pick fertilizers that suit not just their particular crop, but their particular soils. The farmer in Kano, his soil requirement or his nutrient requirement is very different from what the guy in Akwa Ibom will require. So what has happened now is that industries have sprung up and are ready to produce the kind of fertilizers they require. Of course, cost of production of these different blends can never be the same. So farmers, I'm happy from the report from Kano that they are not even waiting for any specific program. They are going to the market. As soon as the rains come, they go and they start buying their fertilizers. It's very exciting for us as an industry.
Give us an insight into the prices, because that's what exactly the local farmer would want to hear. Now, you mentioned about differences in these fertilizers, right?
Yes.
Now, let's go to the prices.
Yes.
We know about 5,500.
Yes.
That should be at least the basic.
Yes.
All right, so from there.
Well, the 5,500 price, this was the price the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative adopted in the first 3 years. In those first 3 years, government will bring in the materials and distribute to the blending plants and controlled the prices. The program has now been restructured such that the blenders, the private sector blenders, are the ones that buy from government, they buy the raw materials and blend it. So the prices are not the same, but they are available. Okay, so the 5,500 was when government was trying to have a uniform pricing. However, there is very exciting news. Government recognizes that there are some vulnerable farmers that may have challenges in affording the product, and they have gone ahead to catalog them. The last we checked was about 5 million farmers, and government is giving them direct support, not through any agents, directly to the farmer's account, so that they can go and buy fertilizers. This is in addition to all the other programs. You have the Anchor Borers program, where they are getting very low interest, and other interventions that government is giving to farmers to empower them to be able to go to the market and procure the fertilizers by themselves, rather than going through any third party, any agency, or any program. They are able to walk in. This eliminates all the attendant issues across when farmers are trying to buy product, all those bottlenecks that come up, the middlemen that come up, those who are not real farmers that want to patronize from this, they are wiped out by virtue of this. So the market and the industry is picking up, and we're proud to say farmers are responding very excitedly to this, from even the reports that we have seen tonight.
All right, we'll talk some more, Mr. Gideon Negadu.
Thank you.
Let's quickly go to our next reports, which of course, but that should be after this timeout. To stay with us.
Are you ready for this?
Let me hear you, AJ. Give me some bass. Just one. That good for you? Just one more. Just one. Nice, AJ. Just one more. Just one. Bring it out. Just one more. Just one more. Double it. Just one more. Just one more. Just one more.
I was born hungry for success. It's the Nigerian way. Glow gets it. Champions stay hungry. Oh yeah. Glow gets it big time.
Hit the big time with 22 times bonus on every recharge. Dial *777#. It's a knockout.
We are StarTimes, the most affordable digital pay TV platform with the widest signal coverage in Nigeria, dedicated to bringing the best TV entertainment around the world to your screen. From Hollywood to Bollywood to Nollywood, we offer the most affordable subscription. Enjoy over 75 channels for as low as 1,700 naira, like Nat Geo Wild, BBC, ESPN, and premium sports like Emirates FA Cup, La Liga, Bundesliga, wrestling. What's more exciting? We have the most flexible payment options in Nigeria. Don't dull. Join us now for an exciting journey. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Dear compatriots, our country can be as great as we want.
Let us all commit ourselves to its greatness.
We must be willing to set aside our differences, unite and stay as one.
In our expansive landmass, human and material resources, and plurality lies our strength.
Let our challenges lead us to rediscover our common ground, and together, let's find solutions.
This will take some time, so it requires patience, tolerance, and forgiveness from every one of us.
Let all hands come on deck to protect and transform our country.
Let us unite and see each other not as adversaries, but as brothers and sisters.
Together, we can build a better Nigeria for ourselves and for the next generations.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA, with support from Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
GoTV Biggie Goals promo don't land. Better digging levels, better grooves, no hard at all on top GoTV. Make you not miss this a woof as GoTV price don't go down low for inside Biggie Goals promo. Now you fit get GoTV decoder, GoTenna with 1 month max subscription will be 9,500 naira before for 6,900 naira now. See discount. Make yourself enjoy football for inside your house. Cross your leg, watch BB Niger drama and shows for Africa Magic and international series them. Biggie Goals promo now for you. Better discount. Go get your own now for only 6,900 naira to enjoy max levels for Go TV. This offer no go to tell. Go TV. Love it.
Welcome back to Weekend File. Farmers in Gombe State are breathing a sigh of relief with the resuscitation of the Gombe fertilizer blending plant. Emmanuel Akila reports on how the plant has contributed to the federal government fertilizer initiative.
When synthetic fertilizer became dominant over manure, farmers were happy that farming would be easier with the use of technology. Fertilizer was brought to us without need for immediate payment. Soon, the story changed because the cost of inorganic fertilizer got out of the reach of peasant farmers. The prices vary. Golding is sold for 18,000 naira per bag. In finding solutions to the high cost of fertilizer, the Gombe fertilizer blending plant was established, but did not function for about 19 years until in July 2021, when the desired political will is given. This is good news to farmers because it has forced a fall on the market price of fertilizer. In Gombe State now, we buy fertilizer at the rate of 7,500 naira. The resource-stated plan can produce beyond the quantity of fertilizer required by farmers in Gombe State.
They produce 540 tons, that is 18 trucks per day.
What the farmers are happy most about is that fertilizer doesn't need to be brought from other states, which requires longer time for them to access. The President's Anko Borers program is intended to make farming easier for us. The farmers who appreciate the presidential initiative on fertilizer, such as the Anko Borers scheme, which has eased their hardship over the years, pray that the Gombe fertilizer blending plant has come to stay. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
In the meantime, a large percentage of farmers in Rivers State rely mainly on decomposed farm waste, animal droppings, and shifting cultivation, amongst others, as an alternative to fertilizer to enrich the nutrients of the soil for improved farm yields. Experts attribute this to low or delayed access to fertilizer by farmers. Joy Uzo reports.
Fertilizer is a chemical or natural substance added to the soil or land to increase its fertility. Unfortunately, farmers in Rivers State rely mainly on shifting cultivation, decomposed green waste, and animal droppings, amongst others, as manure to boost the soil nutrients. Even though experts commend this method as a rich source of organic fertilizer, they were of the opinion that it does not produce enough yields for large commercial purposes.
If the inputs don't come in January, for them to commence their production, it means that they have to source for an alternative source of input, which they normally do all the time. And local breed will not give you that highest productivity level.
Access to fertilizers by large-scale farmers have remained a big challenge due to the activities of middlemen. The impact is, however, always reflected in the high costs of farm commodities. Experts attribute the high cost of fertilizer to importation challenges associated with sourcing raw materials for production, as well as other farm inputs in Nigeria.
Though before you do application, you must do tests, soil tests. Very important. You don't just wake up because you are saying fertilizer, you put it in the farm. You must try to know the nutrient status of the soil, to know the quantity that is needed for that particular crop.
To achieve the Sustainable Development Goals on food security, experts suggest timely distribution of fertilizer and the need to ensure it gets to the core farmers. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Of course, Gideon Negedu, Executive Secretary, Fertilizer Producers Association of Nigeria, FERSAN, and member, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, is still here with me in the studio. How do we begin to address the issues such as the one raised on that report from Port Harcourt, the delayed access or low access to of these fertilizers, by whomever. That means there are still some issues, affecting the availability.
That report is very disturbing to me individually and to the association, because the irony is that 95% of all the activities in terms of importing fertilizer products today is in Port Harcourt, is in rivers. It's all coming through on airports. The major hub for production of urea, just before the Dangote group came in, is Port Harcourt. Indorama Group is in Port Harcourt, and they produce urea that distributes around the whole country. Notori as well has been there from even when we had the NAFCON days. Not just that, Notori is blending NPK fertilizers in Rivers State. So it's a bit worrying. I think it's a problem of linkage. There is ample fertilizers. Like I said, 95% of what we are receiving in terms of core raw materials is coming from Rivers State. So it's a very major concern that farmers are not getting that. I am concerned that farmers have to resort to manure, which is good, like the report said, but will not help us in optimizing the kind of yield that farmers will need to see. So, I don't know, farmers should try and look out for Notori, Indorama, and other fertilizer plants. We have other blending plants in Aba, in Ebonyi, in Akwa Ibom, all around the states. So fertilizers should not be a problem in Rivers State.
Well, Negedu, that was a situation report, so to speak.
Yes.
Perhaps the activities of middlemen have not really been completely taken care of.
Well, so the irony is that what you should call middlemen will now be distributors, and they are no longer playing the negative role of trying to stifle farmers. They are now supposed to act as people that take from the vending plants and take to the farmer. So FEPSAN is going to critically look at what is going on in Rivers State and speak with our members there to say what's happening in terms of the channel. Is it getting to the farmers? Are we well spaced so that they can get? Because it's quite disturbing to hear Rivers in particular. It's quite disturbing.
Well, that's the conversation right now.
Yes.
But then let's go to this issue of the law now in our country, prescribing 7 years jail term for those engaged in producing, buying, selling, and distributing fake and substandard fertilizer. How is FEPSAN monitoring that?
So, FEPSAN is very proud of this new law and played a very strong role. We mounted very strong advocacy to ensure that this law is passed, and thankfully President Muhammadu Buhari has signed it into law. This law protects those who are interested in doing genuine business, and for us in FEPSAN, more importantly, it protects the farmer. And because the end goal of everything we are doing is to ensure that the farmer is served with good quality fertilizers, creating that relationship that keeps him coming back year in, year on. So if scrupulous elements who take genuine businessmen, take their brands and decide to put in adulterated fertilizers are not checked, it becomes a big disincentive to investments. So we're very excited. The Ministry of Agriculture, led by the Fees Department, is playing a very strong role, putting up the structures and to ensure that this law is well implemented. It's a community law. Everybody played a role in making sure that that law comes to be. The farmer organizations, FEPSAN, government. So implementation should be a walk in the park. Should be very easy. So like I said, we're very excited about the law.
All right, there is this report indicating that producers of fertilizer spend over 140 billion naira on raw materials.
Yes.
If that is so, what then happened to the Nigeria-Morocco agreement?
It is part of the Nigerian-Morocco agreement. So a subset of that, of the initiative, is to procure what we call diammonium phosphate, DAP, which we are getting from Morocco. The Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority has been fantastic in ensuring that there is timely procurement of these materials, not just the DAP, which is covered under the Morocco agreement, but we also have agreements with the Russians to produce MOP. Locally, we are doing with our urea producers with Indorama, now that the Dangote Group is on board. So what we have done as an association is that we have raised the funds. We raised the funds by ourselves to be able to procure from our from the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority that buys these raw materials from across. And the records show, and it's quite encouraging what has happened this year. We have a lot of raw materials in the country, not just seated somewhere, but that have moved to the fertilizer plant. And it's ongoing. It's ongoing. It's, like I said, this is one area people should be really, really proud. A lot of work has gone into this, and we are seeing the result of hard work, focus, and commitment to ensuring that there's excellence in this industry.
So going from, like you said, 8 blending plants at the inception, and now to almost 47 around the country, how possible is it that Nigeria could become the world's largest producer of fertilizer?
Well, today, I don't think we're trying to compete. We're trying to, first of all, satisfy our market and export, which we're already doing, by the way, and we're doing very well. But in terms of a particular fertilizer, which is called the nitrogen-based fertilizer, which is urea, Nigeria is self-sufficient, okay, and is exporting. Nigeria today is a global hub for urea production with almost 7 million tons per annum. And that potential can go further up. So it's very, very, very exciting what is going on, not just for Nigeria. A lot of these investments are particularly to trickle down to our brother African countries, okay, who across the sub-region, for example, we don't have any urea plant, all right? So, and as you're aware, the Dangote investment is about the biggest single train fertilizer plant in the world, you know. So it's a very exciting time, not just for Nigeria, but for Africa as a whole, which we as an association too are also very passionate. But in terms of putting enough nitrogen-based fertilizer in the world map, Nigeria can hold its head is held high. And then, of course, for what we require here, the capacity is inherent to more than meet what our demand meets. And we're already seeing some of our people exporting. Under the presidential initiative, people have capacity now to also even export some of this NPK out to other neighboring countries.
Well, we encourage FEPSAN and others alike to ensure that that product or material gets to the targeted audience, because we're looking at food sufficiency and,
exactly.
of course, in our nation. I want to thank you for coming on Weekend File tonight, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, we've been talking with the Executive Secretary of Fertilizer Producers Association of Nigeria, FEPSAN, and member, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, Gideon Negadu. It's time again for break on Weekend File. Do stay with us.
Compatriots, our country can be as great as we want.
Let us all commit ourselves to its greatness.
We must be willing to set aside our differences, unite and stay as one.
In our expansive landmass, human and material resources, and plurality lies our strength.
Let our challenges lead us to discover our common ground. But together, let's find solutions.
This will take some time, so it requires patience, tolerance, and forgiveness from every one of us.
Let all hands come on deck to protect and transform our country.
Let us unite and see each other not as adversaries, but as brothers and sisters.
Together, we can build a better Nigeria for ourselves and for the next generations.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA, with support from Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Because of the American
sports, let's now go over to Badi and Delegate who will update us on Team Nigeria's performance so far at the Tokyo Olympics. Everybody.
Many thanks, Kenneth. Team Nigeria recorded a not too impressive outing on day 2 of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics as UAE missed the chance of qualifying for the quarterfinals of the men's all-round artistic gymnastics event. AK placed 36th overall with a score of 74.765, which was not enough for a place in the last 8. Similarly, Esther Toko could not make it to the quarterfinals in the women's singles repechage 2 in the rowing event after placing 4th with a time of 9.0754. Moving on, in badminton, Nigeria's duo of Godwin Olofua and Anuluakwo lost to host Japan in their first game in the men's doubles of the badminton event, featuring in Group B, Olofua and Okweyori were beaten by the pair of Hiroyuki Endo and Yuta Watanabe 2-0.
It's our first time playing top rank, like first team in the world, and we are supposed to meet them for the first time.
Moving on, Team Nigeria's Olajide Omotayo crashed out of the men's singles table tennis event after going down to a 4-0 defeat against Thiago Apollina of Portugal in the women's singles event. Edem Ofyong beat Hungary's Dora Madaras 4-1 earlier in the day. Funke Oshinaike was eliminated after a 4-1 defeat to Liu Juan of the United States of America. And finally, attention shifts to basketball for Team Nigeria on Sunday as the senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, will be facing Australia. The match begins 9:20 a.m. for that Nigerian time. And despite missing out on chances of a medal, power of Nigeria's rower, that's Esther Toko, will compete in the semi-final, and she will be rowing, that will be 1:20 Nigerian time, Sunday morning. So, and finally, Nigeria's representatives in the inaugural CAF Women's Champions League, Rivers Angels, began their campaign in the Waffle B qualifiers in Cote d'Ivoire with a 2-0 win over Asaka's Ladies of Ghana. Deborah Biodun scored in the 17th minute before Marian Izenago scored the second goal. And that does it on sports. It's back to Kenya.
Oh, well, not a bad one, Buddy. Olympics are just like that. You get off to a start and then you sustain what you started. So let's hope Nigeria will do better going on. But for now, the remains of late former Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Barnabas Bala Bantex, have been laid to rest in his hometown, Manchok, in Kaura local government area of Kaduna State. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
The funeral prayer of the former Deputy Governor was attended by relatives, friends and associates. In a tribute, Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai described the deceased as one of the most honest and decent persons he had ever come across.
And he never for once, like Pontius Pilate, washed off his hands and denied me. I will miss my friend. I will miss my partner. I will miss one of the most decent person I've ever come across in the last 50 years.
The deceased wife and other sympathizers also paid glowing tribute to the late Deputy Governor, describing him as an humble peacemaker and forthright person who stood for the truth.
He taught us to be global citizens, not to look at people through the eyes of religion and ethnicity.
He was my advisor. He was a caring husband.
Late Barnabas Bala died on the 11th of this month. He served as Deputy Governor of Kaduna State between 2015 and 2019 during the first tenure of Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Marajingi, NTA News.
May you so rest in peace. Up next is Weather Report. We apologize for the mix-up. What will still bring you the weather report.
Borno, Yobe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, parts of Kaduna and Zamfara, with chances of rain showers over parts of Plateau, Niger, Ogun, Rivers, Bayelsa and Cross River. However, as we go into the afternoon and evening hours, we expect a wider coverage of thunderstorms over the north, intermittent rain showers over the central parts of the country, and moderate rains over the southern cities. Next is the temperature forecast. Thank you for watching.
Don't forget to join the NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. That's it on Weekend File. Thanks for watching. My name is Kenan Ima Abudike. Good night.
labarin ma yana peji na 36.
Ita kuma babban labarin wannan jarida shine ainihin
labarin da ke gaban jarida shine a bayyana cewa
Chief of Staff
iji wee mee ka ụbọchị na-aga n'anya ya.
Nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé
ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní ẹ̀ka ètò ìlera ní ẹ̀ka ètò ààbò.
Hello and welcome. It's time for another interesting package of
Everything Music.
Angelina, you dey cool in my temperature. If you call, I go come deliver.
This is Talking Movies.
In times of old, the world was full of wonder. No!
Stop it! Welcoming you to your weekend for today.
It's time to use our voice.
Beyond 6 packs.
Bills.
Me and my